I mean, she said a lot of other stuff as well, and she said real estate prices are going to decline. She originally said around 35 to 40%, and she goes, and obviously I think I should have said more accurately 50%.
Let's go back to the phones. We've got loaded lines here. Jim in Florida. Hello, Jim.
Good afternoon, John.
Hi.
Bob and Robbie. I'd like to address the listening audience on this donation thing. I'm down here in Fort Myers, Florida, and it's pretty much a retirement area, which I am. I'm retired and on a fixed income.
That's where my wife's father lives, down in Fort Myers.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I knew she was from here. I didn't know she still had family. Oh, she has a couple brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, and while you're on the real estate thing, the whole area is loaded with vacant houses down here. They're just everywhere. But I would like to speak to the listening audience on this donation. A couple of weeks back, when you were asking for donations,
mm-hmm.
I did some soul searching. Like I said, I'm on a fixed income, and I've been saving up. And Bob, I'm sorry, but I was saving up to buy your newsletter. But I decided that right now in my life that the Republic Broadcasting Network was more important. So I made a one-time donation of $50, and then I did the PayPal thing for automatically $20 every month.
Well, thank you.
And, it's a bit of a stretch, but I can work around it. And I think everybody else listening who is not donating can at least pony up $5 or $10 a month. I mean, you can work around it somehow. But this program is extremely important to everybody. And if we lose it, it's like losing the meals you eat every day or the coffee you drink every morning. It's really that important.
Yeah, something's going to come off the table. And we're just like anybody else. I mean, we have to make a profit off of gold and silver sales, albeit very small. Best prices in the industry out there. But product sales, not only for the products that the network sells, Jim, but also for the advertisers. That's why I always urge people to support the advertisers. This is a drawdown. We are being affected like everybody else out there. And, Jim, I appreciate what you've said, and I really do. Do me a favor. Manny here is going to take you down, and so just hang on the line for a second, if you would,
Well,
Jim.
I have a couple other things.
Go ahead.
If you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I was missing some live programs, and I went back on the archives. And one of the things that came up on one of your shows, and a couple other shows also, was about the 17th Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
And I did some research, and in the Constitution, which is the law of the land, the wording is very clear. It says, and that no state shall, without its consent, shall be deprived of its equal suffrage. Well, there were 10 states, in fact, that never consented. And I think maybe one other one. I think Utah did not ratify it. So in order for that to be amended, it seems to me it would have to be 100% of all the states. I may be wrong on that, but that's the way I look at it. So, and I didn't want to get off point, but I did want to bring that up.
Isn't it two-thirds?
Whatever.
Yeah.
But these states never gave their consent. And the Constitution says they can't be deprived of suffrage without their consent.
So make the same argument for the creation of the Federal Reserve.
True.
As well.
Another thing I'd like to ask you guys, because I don't quite understand how this word works. You were mentioning monetized. Now, I assume that I understood, but I got to thinking about it, and I wish you'd explain exactly what the meaning of is when you say they monetize that. So if you could explain that, and
Okay.
I'll go ahead and get off the air.
All right, Jim, just hang on. I'm going to take you down here for a second. Just hang on. Yeah, Bob, what's the monetization thing? How are they doing
monetization is when the Federal Reserve creates money that they do not have, and they use it for a purpose, usually to buy bonds in the market or to buy bonds from the United States government. And when they do that, the money goes into the system. And so the funneling of that money into the system to be used is a monetizing act. It's a highfalutin word for it makes things happen. It causes inflation. Now, they can go into the market and withdraw from the market, but in this environment, they don't do it very often. Usually at the end of the week, they've spent more money than they did the week before. If they monetize something, say with a bank, and they're buying toxic waste from the bank, bonds with which hold real estate, then it isn't monetized until the bank uses the money. And assumably, sooner or later, the bank will use part or maybe even all that money, and the monetization process will take place. The money that they give to banks has to be returned. They're private entities, and those banks actually, some of them, own the Federal Reserve itself. The money that goes to the agency securities, Fannie, Freddie, FHA, and to the U.S. Treasury, that money is gone and never returns.
All right. Jim, I appreciate your call. Thank you. Let's keep rolling here. I would appreciate, folks, if you'd speed up your questions and or your comments. We've got loaded lines here. Joe in Arkansas. Hello, Joe.
Hello.
Hi.
This is Fred in Philly.
I'm sorry. Fred in Philly, then.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to...
Yeah,
hello?
Go ahead.
I was going to talk, a lot, but I guess I don't have any time. So I just want to just say a question. That is, I don't see any scenario where the banks can be forced to lend, where these politically powerful banks can be forced to lend, because they actually control Congress and Obama. And I'll hang up and I'll let you react to that.
Okay, thanks, Fred. Yeah.
Well, it's not a question of being forced to lend. It's being a question of keeping money on the books so that they stay solvent. The question is, and they make those decisions themselves, the big banks, which make up 75% of deposits, they're the owners of the Fed. So if the Fed and the banks and the brokerage community in New York decide that they are going to continue to do what they're doing, well, then the banks will start to lend at some point. But nobody's forcing them except themselves. The government, Congress, are inconsequential. They don't mean anything anymore. Our country is run lock, stock, and barrel by the bankers, and that's the beginning and the end of it.
All right. And I appreciate your call, Fred, very much. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, with the trillions of dollars of the toxic stuff still sitting on their books, they've got to give the impression that they're in business, they're solvent, the money's moving around, and everything is going to be hunky-dory. It's not. And that's why I said the provisions before Dime One went out to any of these guys, which I wasn't in favor of in the first place. They should have been allowed to have failed. Too big to fail, that means that they were the biggest crooks on the block. They should have been allowed to fail, to clear up these people. Whose debt is it? Well, the derivative market out there in the trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions, and I can't say the word often enough, they are insolvent. The illusion is that they're still in business and the money is still moving. That's for your perception. They're trying to create the perception, and that is supposed to be your reality. But the reality is they're bankrupt. Every damn last one of them. Joe in Arkansas. Hello, Joe.
Hey, happy chemtrail afternoon to y'all.
Not here in Texas, buddy. We got clear skies, 105 degrees, and we're cooking away nicely under perfectly sunny skies.
Good for you.
All right.
I got two questions.
Yeah.
To Bob, this bank holiday in September, can he elaborate more on it, and if he has any more information about it? And also, if martial law occurs, what happens to businesses? And I'll listen off the air.
Thank you, Joe. We're going to break here in about 10 seconds, Bob, so consider that during the break. And I'll just take the few remaining seconds here before we've got to pop off and go to the hard break here. Last one of the show. Folks, seriously, support the network. Please, 800-724-2719. My happy little wife, Sandra, is standing by, anxiously awaiting your phone call. Be generous, folks. We're in this together, and we're going to need each and every one of us to band together to pull out of it. So keep your friends around. 800-724-2719. We'll be right back.